Meera? Is it Meera?
It is.
And your name is Meera, surname
Meera Belle.
Meera Belle. That's the full name?
Well, that's my performing name. Full
Okay,
name
we'll
is
go.
Meera Webster.
Oh, okay, Meera Belle. That's great. So you are with the society in Hills, Hawkesbury.
Hawkesbury.
How sweet it is. Show president of Hawkesbury. So you're the president of the Hawkesbury Entertainers and Artists Regional Theatre Society. That's a mouthful.
It is. That's why we had to find something that added up to the acronym of HEARTS.
Hearts. Okay, so if I Google that, that should be there. Okay,
It
let me
should be,
check.
yeah.
And you're the president.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a committee. There's a. Oh, your next event is not advertised yet.
No, at the moment we've got the monthly open mic night. So that's the open mic jam. And that's at the Richmond Club here in the Hawkesbury. I believe it's the only open mic that provides a paid house band. So the point of our organisation is to get paid work for musicians and to kind of build up this understanding that artists, being an artist is a job, and it's a job that is worthwhile. So having an open mic night where we have a regular house band of between 3 and 4 players, the Richmond Club has sponsored us. So those players get paid every time they play.
That's beautiful. So the venue is where?
It's the Richmond Club.
And there's other organizations inside that Richmond Club using that?
I'm not aware of that, actually. I think they've got, it's really interesting since we started the open mic night, they've started putting on free live music in the same bar area, and they hadn't done that before. So I'm starting to think that perhaps, and I need to talk to the manager about this, but we have built up quite a following in the time that we've been there this year. We had to look for another home for it. Previously, we were in the Regent Theatre, but that's being renovated at the moment. And I think we brought so many people in on a Wednesday that they were really surprised that there were that many people that wanted to listen to live music. So they've renovated the actual the lounge area, and now they're putting on free live music for locals. And I mean, we're thrilled. It obviously means that they're paying bands to be there, and patrons don't have to pay to listen to live music in the area. It's just fantastic.
The organization has added value to that club.
I think it has. I mean, I'm going to sit down with the club manager and just make sure that that has been the case. But I do know that by talking to the staff have met every single time we've been there that they've never seen so many people there at that time on a Wednesday. And of course, the people that come, they buy food. You know, they can order from the local restaurant, from the restaurant in the club, and they will deliver it to the bar area. So we're seeing families, we're seeing groups of people come and actually have a meal as well as spend money at the bar. And this is precisely the sort of thing that we wanted to do. It's precisely the kind of thing that this organisation is focused on, is the idea that small businesses in the area can benefit from supporting live artists.
Oh, you can hear me fine?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a great point about so you were the first artist to be in that, to be part of that entertainment for the club?
I don't think we were the first, but I think that our regular presence there proved to the club that people will come. If there is something on regularly, they will make a point of coming. Now, it has to be said that, you know, if you build it, they will come. I mean, there's a famous quote from Bull Durham, I think it was, or one of those Kevin Costner movies, where the idea is that if you create a regular event and you make sure that it is well supported amongst your own personal community, but you make it accessible to other people will come. They will come and support it. People will find their way to fast-moving water, if you like. So putting energy and effort into a regular event can pay off. And I mean, it also is a fact that, you know, people have been crying about live music dying out all over Sydney. I think that COVID had such a detrimental effect. Worldwide, we lost 40% of our artistic performing people. I mean, that's astonishing. That's 40%. That's nearly half of all live performing artists just went the way of the dodo, and they haven't come back. So we have
What do you
emerging
think
artists.
they've gone on to other platforms, like because of the cost of live?
Absolutely, absolutely they have, or they've left the industry altogether. You know, they've taken their cue to retire early, or they've given up and gone and found more stable work. All of those things, I think, probably contribute to the situation. Either way, the situation results in a massive loss of talent. And the thing that concerns me the most is the loss of experienced talent. It's the loss of people who are capable of being mentors. I was reading on Facebook from a fellow artist of mine who's up the coast. He brought in a 15-piece big band, which had 2 singers with it. And a lady came up to him and sort of said, "Oh, can I sing with the band?" And he said, "Well, no, you can't." And she was completely flummoxed. She just thought that she could jump up in front of 15 or effectively an orchestra with 2 paid singers and just jump up and do a number. I mean, the lack of understanding about what a live artist is, what it takes to be a live artist, you know, when you're presenting live work, how to behave as an audience. You know, these things have been lost or are in the process of being lost. I had a very similar situation happen with Hearts, with the open mic jam, where somebody said to me, "Well, you know, I've got somebody who wants to perform, but he wants to perform with karaoke tracks." And I said, "No." And she was completely blown away. And she said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because if you want to go to a karaoke evening, go to a karaoke evening. There are plenty of them around. But you're talking about a live event where 3 to 4 musicians have set aside hours, because it's not just the hour that they start playing, it's the hour that they arrive and set up, it's the hour that they spend packing down. You add 2 hours to a 3-hour event, and that's 5 hours that they've committed their time. Why should I allow 3 or 4 live musicians to sit around when they can play their instruments and have somebody play a backing track? It's just, but you know,
new type of artist.
well, I understand it. I get it, because, you know, so listen, in the last 10 years, maybe 3 to 4 actual bands have made the top 10 of any top 10 song list worldwide. We don't have bands anymore. We have solo artists, singer-songwriters. Number one, they're cheaper. Number two, they can imitate the sound of a band with a backing track. I get that. It's cheaper, but cheaper is not better. And it's not teaching, you know, I've got a girl who desperately wants to sing jazz music with a live jazz band. Where are the live jazz bands? Where is she going to go? She has to use backing tracks because there's nowhere that she can find a 12 to 15 piece ensemble to sing with. I sing with a 12 to 15 piece ensemble, but I can tell you that the average age in that ensemble is 68.
It's so sad.
It's nuts, because this is an entire section of the live performing arts sector that is going away. And there is value that is intrinsic in live music, whether it be in a large ensemble or a small ensemble. But the value, the musicianship, the courtesy, the exchange of energy, the artistic endeavor, that is very, very, very hard to quantify and explain to someone who has no concept of it. And we are bringing forward young artists who have no concept of it. I put printed music in front of some of my pupils because I teach as well, and they look at me like I'm a madwoman. And I'm like, this is written music. This is if you put this in front of a good musician, they can play this. And if it's a very good musician, they can play it in any style you want to hear it. But it's not going to be the same every time. It's not a karaoke track.
Oh, I can understand this.
And this is where Hearts comes in. This
Yeah,
is the,
are you one
yeah,
of the few organizations that's mentoring and encouraging this?
we are the only ones. I don't know of any other, I literally do not know of any other organisation, certainly not in the Hawkesbury, but I don't know of any Sydney-wide that is specifically dedicating itself to the support of live music in all its forms, to mentoring young artists. I mean, the other thing that we do is we provide buskers to the local food markets. We've got a beautiful food market, the Richmond Good Food Market. That's on every Saturday. Bless them, they approached us and said, hey, we've noticed your organisation. We would like to have live music at the markets. And I said, sure, what are you paying? And they named a sum, and we put the call out and we said, we will put a banner up at the markets. You will be performing under our name, but you negotiate with the markets, but you will be paid. And if there is anything that you need, is there any way that we can support you? We will support you and mentor you. And if there's material that you need to do at the markets that you want to try out at the open mic night, bring it. But we have specific.
The way to get people to understand your organization is the open mic nights.
The open mic nights at the moment, we have had other events. We did have a voiceology conference for singers, which was absolutely amazing. So I'm a Voiceology Australia teacher, and the founder of Voiceology Australia is Marianne Ruvas. And if you know the Ruvas name, you would know that her daughter Diana won Australian Idol in 2019 and is a recording artist and a performing artist. And Marion trained her daughter, and she's trained a new legion of singing teachers, thank goodness, because we desperately needed some training amongst singing teachers here in Australia. And I'm the only voiceology teacher in the Hawkesbury. So I persuaded Marion to come and do an entire day's voiceology conference for singers. And that was
when was that?
That was back, I think that was in April. That
And
was in April.
How many people attended?
Well, we only had about 10 people, but of those 10 people, I can tell you that they were absolutely blown away. And as I've said before, if you build it, they will come. But you have to start somewhere, which means that somebody has to take the initiative, somebody has to put the energy forward, somebody has to be prepared to put that all together. And that's what my organisation does. And I mean, the following month, we actually flipped the whole thing around and we had a big band workshop. So we invited all the local high schools at 3 p.m. on a Friday to bring their music students down and work with a 20-piece big band. And God bless them, they're my big band, the Music Shed Big Band. They came from all over Sydney to donate their time to sit in the local church auditorium, which is wonderful. That's the St Andrew's Uniting Church. And for 3 hours, we worked with students on how to put together a big band and what it's going to sound like and what it's going to feel like. And they were able to sit next to the instrument of their choice with their instrument and be mentored by that musician. And then in the evening, we had a big band concert featuring all of the tunes that we had worked on in the workshop.
So you run workshops, you run conferences, you're just a connecting service support and a support service.
Absolutely. I mean, we're hoping to also support the Australian Busking Championship. So Richmond and Windsor has been selected as 2 of the venues to host that section of the Australian Busking Championships. And of course, the Busking Championships was where Tones and I was discovered.
Tones and I?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where they were discovered at that Richmond busking.
That's where they were discovered. Not at ours, but at the championships
Chip.
itself. That's where she was discovered. So those championships, you know, they're not nothing. Busking is a really, really, really big deal. And plenty of aspiring artists find their way, but they won't find their way if people don't organize things like this. And the organizers need the community to understand that this is an effort on their behalf. So, you know, they may already be used to hearing live music. They may have musicians in their family. But even if they don't, it just takes a bunch of people to say, you know what, this is a local event. It could be fun. Let's grab the kids. Look, here's a story. I had a vintage vocal trio called the Star Sisters, and we were approached online by a Russian organization to take part in the Tsar Jazz Festival in Sochi. That was the year of the Winter Olympics that was going to be in Sochi, in Russia. And at first I thought it was a scam, and I did answer, and it turned out that that it was legit. They were offering to host us, and we were the first Australasian artists to ever be asked to take part in the Tsar Jazz Festival. And so we went, we created events, we fundraised, we raised the money for the tickets to go, and we went and took part in that event. You know, this is what it takes. It takes people to be organizers, but it also takes people to rise to the occasion and to say, this is amazing. And one of the most amazing things about being in Sochi was there is, because Sochi, you know, is a small resort town on the Black Sea. And there's a little amphitheatre. Well, it's not so little. It's a reasonably sized amphitheatre built by the seaside. Every night of the week, from about 6 o'clock in the evening till about 11 o'clock in the evening, there's live music. Every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And families will go. On a Monday, you'll see families sitting in the bleachers in this amphitheatre listening to live music. The jazz festival was held there, and every night there was a different event, and that stadium was packed. That amphitheatre was packed. And I really understood that this was perfectly natural for Europeans to go and hear live music and take the family. Now, we talk about culture and we talk about where culture is embedded. But since the ancient times, there's been a triangle of sciences, and arts is part of that. Arts and music is part of that essential triangle of knowledge. And I'm afraid the Europeans still do it and still do it well. And for some reason, we're not picking up on that unless people really push. That's what you've got to do. But when you look historically at any ground level roots movement of really true societal change, it's never been governments. It's always been people. Always. People and organizations everywhere throughout history.
Beautiful. Well, I didn't know that I was going to unbundle all that, but because I met you as a creative person, so this was really good to even know that you have this organization called Hearts, and that you're passionate about performing arts, and your analysis of it, that it's dying.
And I'm doing it myself. I'm still doing it myself at the age of 60. This is my 60th year, and I'm getting more work offered to me, the work that I've always wanted to do in my 60th year. So that's what I mean. You know, energy makes energy.
Great. It's an inspiring story, and